Good evening. Forgive me if I sound like I am underwater. I have what I can describe as my 100th cold of the last year. I swear every time I feel better, I get worse again. So I'm very sorry if this sounds horrible. But I hope you're all at least more healthy than I am. There have been quite a few sort of changes going on lately. The first of which I will mention because it's blatantly obvious. My desk has moved. We have moved from the confines of my office, which is where I film and my son plays and all that sort of thing. And I've moved into my living room because that way I can watch my desk as my son tries to destroy all my stuff. My office is slash living room on the top floor. My son keeps trying to throw stuff downstairs, which has resulted in a couple of very nice, valuable items breaking. Do I feel like I'm slightly drowning? A little. This cold went from feeling rather annoying yesterday to feeling like my entire head is filled with fluids. So, but I was very determined not to cancel this because I know I have cancelled a bunch of videos that were meant to come out in the last 6 weeks, mainly because I have been ill, either physically or needed a mental health break, and just generally things going a bit chaotic in my life. But things should be not much better now. Oh, I'm sorry you've been poorly too, Corny. It's pain. So yeah, I'm hoping you are feeling better. I feel like this cold is global. It's not just like a couple of people I know, but literally everybody I know around the world seems to have the same cold, which is terrifying considering a global pandemic has been an actual thing in our lives. So fingers crossed that this one is just a cold and it's just infecting the world, coincidentally. Anyway, I've been up to a few things over the last few weeks. My biggest one, I'll say, because it was last weekend, was that I went to Star Wars Celebration in London, which was a whale of a time. I don't know if any of you lot have seen it on the news or anything like that, but it was massive. It was down at the Excel, which is in the Docklands. I think there was between 20 and 40,000 people there every single day. And yeah, it was a load of fun, lots of Star Wars props, lots of actors and directors. Kathleen Kennedy, who's the head of LucasArts Film, was there. They announced 3 new Star Wars films with Daisy Ridley and everybody, and it was really good. It was a really good time. I went and spent way too much money. Literally, oh God, I can't even remember how much money I spent, but I feel like my bank account is certainly feeling it. Bought a lot of really random things, including Funko Pops, because these are adorable. Ewan McGregor was there because, Obi-Wan's the thing. But I also got a bunch of other things. And my pass is somewhere around here as well. There it is. And we also have these really, really cool passes for each day. And it was such a good time. I didn't go in costume because I am terrified of cosplay, and let's face it, I spend so much of my time doing costume for other stuff. So that was really good. Sleepy Tiger, were you there? I feel like if you were there, if someone who watches this channel was there and I didn't meet them, it's a crime. So you need to tell me if you were there. What else did I do? Went to the Star Wars Live Celebration stage. Monday, I wasn't there Monday. I was there Friday and Saturday. Oh no, I hate it. Like ships in the night. Yeah, I went to the Celebration Live stage, got to see Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, Anthony Daniels, Rosario Dawson. That doesn't sound right. My head is very, like I said, cold as everything. Pretty much, yeah. Saw so many people, bought a load of things. And the highlight of my entire thing, which is minor to a lot of people, but meant so much to me. As you guys know, I have a thing about immersive food and immersive cooking. And I have a bunch of Star Wars themed cookbooks, which are designed to kind of immerse yourself in the world of Star Wars. And one of them I have is the Star Wars Life Day Cookbook, which is written by Mark Sumarak and Jen Fujikawa. My head just went then again. And Jen Fujikawa is someone I follow on Instagram, to the point where I think I accidentally started stalking her. And she was at Star Wars Celebration, and I spent 2 days trying to track this woman down to get her to sign my book. And eventually I ended up finding a very, very kind member of the volunteer team who, when I explained that I believed she was filming for StarWars.com somewhere, despite not actually knowing her name before I went and found this gentleman, he knew exactly where she was, which turned out to be backstage filming for StarWars.com and therefore not actually out on the floor. So he went and got her for me, and I got to meet her for the very first time, which was brilliant because she is incredibly talented and incredibly fun. And I absolutely love doing immersive cooking. And I got her to sign my cookbook, which is great. And she's got another one coming out at the end of the year, which I have already pre-ordered. So yeah. And I still need to do a video series on immersive cooking because I believe it is brilliant. But yeah, so that was Star Wars Celebration. And went to London, had a lovely time, went to the aquarium on the Sunday because my son needed to go out. Got some great videos of some sharks and some turtles because that's what you see in aquariums. And now I'm back home and I brought home the souvenir of a cold. But that's okay. That's all absolutely fine. And I've summarized that entire thing in 7 minutes. And yes, Jane, I have seen your question twice. Don't worry, I'm getting to it. Oh dear. I am highly, highly aware that LARP season is around the corner, which is what we're here to talk about, because it's literally 2 weeks away until the Lorien Trust Spring Moot. And also, I think the first event of Curious Pastimes here in the UK as well, because I believe they are the same weekend. And the answer is, Jane, yes, I will be at the Spring Moot, but only for 1 day. As some of you know, I've mentioned it a few times. My husband is staff at the Lorien Trust. He is a member of the Alchemist Guild Command. He writes their plot. And unfortunately, that means that he needs to work the event, which means I don't get a lot of time to see him. But also that means that I have to kind of, no way shall we put it, I'm the one who's on little kid duty. So I have my son, he's 4. Another development in my life as well is my son has now officially received a diagnosis of autism, which is fine. I'm not got any issues with him having a diagnosis. I'm thrilled that we've actually got a label on it, because it means he's entitled to a lot of assistance and benefits that will be really helpful for him and his development. But it does mean that he does have some special needs, and that means I have to focus predominantly on him. So I will be attending the Spring Moot for 1 day while my parents take him out, so I can have a small break, and so I can go and do some LARPing, because it is my great passion in life. And then I will be going back to take care of him for the rest of the weekend. So I won't be there for more than a day, which means I have a lot of things to cram in about 7 hours. I can do it. It'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. Sorry, nose is running. It's so gross. I don't know why I share horrible details with you. I'm sorry. But yes, so I'm very happy that I am actually going to be attending the event, even for a little bit, because, you know, if I had to miss the whole thing entirely, I think I would be quite sad. I am not at E1 for Empire because I just don't have it in me. It's just a little bit too close. I'm still trying to convince people to come with me. I don't drive, which means getting things down there is a lot of effort. But that's okay. I am currently in the process of getting a bunch of my friends together to come with me to E2 on the guilt trip that I want to take them for a trip for my birthday, which I think is very cheeky of me because my birthday is a month after E2. It's actually technically closer to E3, but E3 is only about a week before the Lorien Trust Summer Moot, and I don't want to put a lot of pressure on my husband to get everything sorted before that. So my current plans at the moment for this year are to attend E2 of Empire and attending E4, hopefully if I can convince all my friends that go to E2 that they want to do it again, which I'm sure they will, because, you know, we're all LARPing addicts. But yeah, so Lorien Trust Spring Moot one day. Hopefully longer at the Lorien Trust Greater Drain Fair. Will again depend on my son, but hoping to take him camping for the first time. So fingers crossed that'll be fine. Plus, if anyone's ever been to the Lorien Trust Greater Drain Fair, it's quite a good event to go to if you've got small children, because it's a fair. They don't have any sort of large combat stuff during the daytime, which means it's a little bit safer for little kids to be running around. There's no risk of them wandering into a mass combat. And also it's very plot light as well during the day while they do a load of games and activities and stuff, which just makes things relatively uncomplicated during the day. And then, you know, if they're quite little, kids can be settled down at night, and then you can get on with, you know, a bit of combat and a bit of role play after they've gone to bed, in theory. I do not know how my son is going to sleep in a tent. For all I know, the answer is really, really poorly. But hey, it's got to be done at some point, and I think I can make it work. So current plan, yeah, Lorien Trust Spring Moot one day, hopefully the Great Drain Fair, the whole event. E2 should definitely be the whole event, because my husband will be there with managing my son. We'll be in the Navarre camp, so, you know, a little bit more sheltered under the trees, hopefully. And hopefully my son will have had one camping experience by that point as well. And then I'm going to go from there. I've got a lot of LARP events in my calendar, so we will see how this all goes. But yeah, I can't believe it's literally only 2 weeks away. That's the thing that's really, really getting to me now. Like, I've got to get a load of stuff prepped. I say a load of stuff prepped. I'm only going for one day. But even so, I've got, like, you know, I've got to find my costume, got to find my weapons. I've got to decide whether I'm allowed to use my weapons. Because to add to the more complications of my life, I have now been diagnosed with my second autoimmune disorder. It's called immune thrombocytopenia. It's something that other members of my family have. And essentially what it means is I have a low blood platelet count. Now, fortunately, the number I have is not too low. Basically, inside your body you obviously have blood platelets, and your blood platelet count, I think, should be like 150,000 per certain area of your body or a certain amount of your blood. And that's considered normal, like between 120 and 150,000. That's the usual range of normal amount of blood platelets. My current number is just over 50,000. So I'm looking at just over a third of what a normal human being has. Which somehow, despite being considered low, my hematologist has determined that it's not concerning. So, because essentially it doesn't really alter my blood clotting too much, but it does mean that I kind of need to be a bit more safe about things, especially hits to the head, because if I get bleeding on the brain, apparently the surgery for that is not fun. But there is no actual concerns really in terms of like if I was to cut myself, like my blood would clot exactly like everybody else's. But my numbers have been dropping slightly, so I'm actually due to see my hematologist. I think the week before either the week before Spring Moot or the week after. It's like really, really close. So yeah. What it also means is that I bruise really easily. And I don't have actually any bruises on my arms to show you. But my legs look like I've been beaten with a baseball bat, and not be, too delicate about it. So yeah, LARP combat is a thing I'm having to consider at the moment, whether it's actually, going to be risky for me. I don't think it is. My hematologist is pretty confident it's not either. Like, he literally went through a bunch of things that you can do with a low blood platelet count. Literally, the only thing he said he wouldn't recommend I did was brain surgery, because for brain surgery you need a minimum count of 100,000 per whatever. 100,000, yeah, and I'm only at 50,000. Or just over 50,000. Either way, I'm not in a good state for brain surgery, so yeah. But this is why I haven't been in. This is why I kind of dropped off the radar. I've had a lot of stuff going on in my life in a very short space of time. And yeah, autoimmune conditions are not necessarily the most fun thing. The fun irony of it all, just for reference. So I have 2 autoimmune conditions. One of them being Graves' disease as well. I have had an overactive thyroid for quite a while. I've been on meds for that for ages. I've responded to the meds very well because my endocrinologist is brilliant. But my thyroid problem was triggered back when I had COVID in 2021. And my doctor believes that my the immune thrombocytopenia was triggered by my other autoimmune condition, being the thyroid issues, which means, technically speaking, my blood issue has been caused by COVID. And considering I had long COVID as well, I think COVID-19 has officially become the gift that keeps on giving, because every illness and thing, like serious illness, not like colds and stuff, but every serious illness I've had can be tracked back to when I had the virus in 2021. So yeah, I've been in a weird place for quite a while. But I'm sure you guys can forgive that. I'm sorry that I'm just drowning on about my physical health. None of you came to hear that. You guys came to hear about LARP, because LARP is fun. So yeah, sorry. So yeah. In the meantime, however, I have been keeping myself busy with LARP stuff. I've been doing a lot of crafting projects lately, mainly because I suddenly realised that if I'm actually going to have to LARP, then I actually have to, have like a proper costume and a proper set dress for my tent, because I've never needed that, really. I mean, I need a costume, but I've been staff, so my priority has always been, get the staff stuff there, get all the paperwork done, get all the plot written, get all the research requests written, get all the downtime stuff done. And it was about a month and a half ago that I suddenly realized I don't have to do any of that now. So I've got to work out what like regular LARPers do before events. And that's been really sort of, yeah, I'm really not sure how to LARP anymore. Says the woman who runs a LARP channel. That's not good. So yeah, I've been keeping myself busy with like crafting bits and bobs. I've mainly been doing a lot of alchemy kind of stuff, so I created some nice potion bottles and things. It's quite bright, so you might not be able to see them, but you might recognise the names of a few of these if anyone's been reading into Empire and that sort of thing, because I want to play an apothecary. And I got actual herbs to go and, flower petals to go into these things as well, so they look really cool. And I also went a bit mental on, I may have posted a picture of my lanterns that I got a while back. I went thrifting with Debbie from Debbie LARP, who was my guide to Empire, and is a lovely, lovely person. And while we were thrifting, we went into like a charity shop, and I found some of these black plastic lanterns, and they looked quite fancy, and they were $5 for a pair, which was a deal. And I've been looking at them for ages and going, they just look a little bit too plastic. So I ended up spraying them copper and then going, that looks a little too clean. Let's make them look like they've been in a forest for, however long. So I patinaed it with some blue paint, made all of the windows nice and gunky. And then I stuck a load of I was about to say fake moss, but it's not fake. It's dried real moss, just all over it to make it look like someone abandoned it in the woods. It's not got fairy lights in them. No, it's got an actual little candle, not fire candle, a little plastic candle that was built into it. It's battery powered. It looks perfectly fine. Maybe a little dark, but it's more for decoration than anything else. So yeah, I've been keeping myself kind of busy with lots of crafting bits. I videoed some of them, but to be honest, it's still a work in progress because I'm not very good at these. It's amazing what you can do with a bit of glass and a cork and some string, and how much that'll make things look like they belong in medieval sort of fantasy worlds. But I've been doing that with a lot of things: potion bottles, herb bottles, plastic lanterns. Trying to make as many props as I can to keep myself busy. Yeah, it's been, like I said, a good few weeks. I'm presuming you mean chronic illness and LARP isn't a discussion that's talked about enough. That's true. A lot of LARPers do have chronic illnesses, more and more of us by the day. Literally, friends of mine have recently been diagnosed with some stuff. I know some people who've had them for many, many years. And yeah, it's a thing we don't really talk about, which seems weird because I feel like LARPers are really good at kind of discussing things really well in general. We like to talk about our mental health, and we talk about things like sexual misconduct at events and things like that. And we do talk about chronic illnesses sort of with each other, but I don't think we discuss it about how it affects LARP in general. And then it's cliche for me to sit down and go, I'm planning a video about it, but it is something that is sitting on my Trello board right now, because I do have a good number of friends who have been LARPing for quite some time, also have some quite severe chronic illnesses. And I do feel like it is a topic that we do kind of need to discuss a little bit, especially as I'm sort of making this journey into my own sort of life with chronic illnesses. I mean, yeah, and it is so different from person to person as well. Like for me, I've got my thyroid problems. I've got this, autoimmune immune thrombocytopenia. I'm epileptic as well, just to add to that chaos. But I've got people who I know have chronic fatigue, things like Crohn's disease. Mental illnesses, a wide variety of neurodiversities, which is obviously something that I'm very passionate about. Not only because my son is autistic, but I'm acutely aware that I probably have a degree of autism of my own. My husband is also neurodiverse. So there's a lot of things sort of going on, and not just for me, but like people across the LARP community. And it is something that we kind of are getting more open about, but I think, you know, proper discussions are always healthy and should be encouraged. I'm just blabbering on. I feel like we've discussed a lot in 25 minutes. I say discussed, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm sort of writing out lists of things that I need to take to various events, because I'm acutely aware that I need to spend a lot of money. I'm nearly finished with my shopping list for Empire. My personal kit is nearly done. I'm just waiting on a few little bits and bobs so that I can put it together. Most of the kit is the stuff I wore last year, which you've probably seen in various photos and videos. But I did get some new pieces as well, which I will be happy to show you all. But to add to it as well, I'm hoping to do a full Empire style haul sort of over the next few months. Because I need to get a bunch of stuff for my son, because dressing a child under the age of 6 for LARP is surprisingly hard. I've never ever experienced this before. Like, I've always found it quite easy to shop in general for myself. Okay, Rebecca, I would love to meet you too. I will come. I've not actually been down the marches, so I really do need to come and have a nosy. So yeah, hopefully we meet soon. Yeah, I need to finish doing this haul, because finding clothes for small children has been proven to be the most tricky task humanly possible. It seems to come down to one of either two things. Either you have cheap costumes for kids that, you know, you bought kind of off Amazon or from the Disney store, and they're dressed up as little princesses or princesses. And that's great. Don't get me wrong. They all look very cute, but it's not terribly immersive. So when looking for alternatives, the only assumption I can make is that people, when they take little kids to LARP, they must make their clothes themselves, because I am yet to find a professionally, like a, like from Arm Street or Bergschneider or anything. I'm struggling to find a tunic for someone that's younger than 7 years old. Like, the smallest size I can find, if I put on my 4-year-old son, would touch the floor. So, oh, thank you, Rebecca. I love a badge. I collect them. In fact, it's an addiction. It's terrible. So that would be lovely. Thank you. Yeah. So the smallest sizes I can find would touch the floor on my son. And don't get me wrong, he is beautiful and would look gorgeous in a dress of any size. And I fully embrace that, because he's so beautiful. And that's really sad of me to say so, but if any of you ever meet me in person with my son, you'll know what I mean, because he's like, unlike me, he is like blonde and looks kind of like a cherub. And that's not just me. People have said this to me. I'm not smug about my child at all. But he looks beautiful in a dress. But he needs to wear something that's not full length, because he also likes running around like a crazy person, and therefore will trip over it and fall flat on his face. Yeah. So finding clothes for small kids is really tricky. So I'm having most of the stuff I'm getting from him is actually from Amazon. And I've been looking at things like, joggers and, things like that. I found a shirt that I think will work for him. But the thing is that it makes me sort of go, it's a woman's shirt. It's for a woman size 8. Which on me would never fit me, because I am much larger than a size 8. But on him, I reckon would probably come to just past his knees, which might still be a bit long, but it's still better than a shirt that touches the floor. Like, seriously, how tall are these 7-year-olds? Why are they? It's weird. Then again, I saw a picture of a 10-year-old the other week, and he was almost as tall as his, 5'10" parents. It really freaked me out. So I guess kids are just getting taller and taller as the world goes on. So yeah, I've got to finish his haul, which is mostly things from Amazon. I think it will look cute, and that should be absolutely fine. Hello, Simone. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm glad that you're going to your first LARP. Oh, I love it when people... This is what I love for. It's literally people just coming on and telling me all about the LARPs that they're going to and that they're excited to go to their first LARPs, because we all need to go LARPing more. Regardless of whether you've been LARPing for the first time this year or if you've been LARPing for over a decade like me, we all need to LARP more because it's so fun. For Simone, just for your catching up, I'm ranting about how it's impossible to shop for LARP clothes for kids. Because my son is 4 and I can't find a thing to dress him in that's not going to hang down to his knees. So there's going to be a lot of trial and error with shopping for him, especially if I'm shopping in woman's size 8 for a 4-year-old boy. But it might work, so keep your fingers crossed for me. And in terms of my husband, he's an interesting one because he comes from a guild at the Law and Trust, which typically dresses in red and black. And we're going to be joining Navarre, who typically wear green and brown, which means most of his kit doesn't actually work for the nation we're in. So he is also having to go shopping. So I've presented him with a list of possible options, which is quite funny because I didn't want to just tell him what to wear because I am a hugely bossy human being. So what I did was I provided a list of things that will be suitable, including their costs and links to where these things are, because that's the only way to go shopping if you're shopping online, is to, have an Excel sheet. And he kind of, had not had a panic attack, but I think he kind of did freak out a little bit when he first saw it, because the total amount of money that I was suggesting was about £900. And that's not because I wanted him to buy all of it. I just wanted to give him an idea of how much that, it would cost if he wanted all of it. I wasn't expecting him to buy all of it. There were a bunch of options on there so that he could pick and choose and have his own kind of style. Because, I don't want to be that person. But it kind of freaked him out. So he's got the list and he's making me back away, I think, so that he can make his own choices, which is probably for the best, if we think about it. So I'm just focusing on dressing me and dressing my son. For those of you here, last month I got a new weapon for it from the Monsters Menagerie, who is a lovely, lovely person making LARP weapons here in the UK. And I'm gutted because they made a bigger version of the exact same weapon I bought, but like full staff length, and they're taking it to Empire, and I want it, but someone else is going to buy it, and now I only have the short version, which makes me sad. So if anybody sees a big moon on a stick at Empire and fancies buying me a very, very generous gift, I will love you forever. No questions asked. And if you don't want to buy me, at least tell him that he has to sell it to me, because I'm desperate for it and it'll match my little one. I'm looking forward to Empire. I mean, don't get me wrong, I look forward to all my events. But I've been really looking forward to Empire, and I think it's because it's the first LARP I've got where I have literally no in-game responsibilities. Like, I'm not going to have to, run a bow competency, and I'm not going to have to, write plot or rally a bunch of, NPCs to make sure they do stuff. I can just wander around and do whatever the hell I like. And I'm so up for that. I'm so up for just wandering around, doing a little bit of trading, maybe go into a battle if my doctor says it's okay. And then, going off and drinking in one of the in-character bars, buying some food, and just chilling out with my friends. I am so looking forward to that. And odds are I'm going to get involved with some form of plot because it's just me and I can't not get involved. But it just means I have no responsibilities except for like my son, who, you know, I'm parents, that's my life. Being responsible for your own children is apparently a thing. So, you know. But to be honest, that's one thing I am looking forward to about Empire is the fact that because they don't have massive battles that just take place in between the camps, it's a little bit safer for my son to wander around because he's currently on a harnessed backpack at the moment because he's quite little for his age, as well as has absolutely no concept of danger of any kind. Plus the fact that because my health was, you know, really awful, and when my thyroid was really bad, I could barely walk/run. I still can't run very well because of it. And my son is fast, so he will zip off as quickly as the wind will take him. But I want to start getting him off that backpack because he is nearly 5. He'll be 5 next January. And he can't be on that backpack forever. So Empire gives kind of a bit of an opportunity to have him off the backpack because it's quite safe in terms of combat. My husband will be there to help give me a hand as well. A couple of other of my friends will be there who Arthur likes and likes to spend time with. So I'm not saying they have to watch him or anything, but it's just like, you know, he will be happy being around them. And if they, you know, want to hang out with him for a little bit, that's fine. He won't be uncomfortable with that. And if they don't, he'll still be happy to have them around, which is also good. So many things you have to think about when you're a parent, but LARP parenting is a whole other ballgame. I don't know if I have any other parents in my viewership. I presume so. I know my viewers in general range from 17 to, I know one of my older viewers are in their 50s and 60s. So it's quite a nice wide range of you. So there must be some parents in there somewhere. I just don't know how many there are. So if any of you are actually parents, do drop me a message because I am quite interested to see how many parents there are. Because I think that's the thing is, and this going into my selling point as a YouTuber, a lot of the YouTubers, like in the LARP community, and I want to be very, very clear, they're fantastic. But I am not like them. And I'm not like them in that I am not incredibly attractive, nor am I incredibly eloquent, I think is the best word. I kind of view myself being essentially other people's LARP mums. Is I'm the person that will sit there and tell you, you know, how you can be safe, how you can make sure you're fed properly, how you can make sure you don't freeze to death, and how do you make sure you have a good time. And I can do all those things because I'm a mum and I want to make sure everyone's okay. And I feel like that is the thing I use for my channel as my selling point is I want to make sure you're all okay and all having fun, and that'll be fine. And all of these other YouTubers can tell you how to be talented at crafting things or how to get really immersed in these beautiful, gorgeous LARPs, in these beautiful, gorgeous costumes. And I am never going to have any of those things because I am not, I'm not very attractive. I can't make for shit. I am a terror. I can't sew. I can barely make these. If you look at them, they look fine at a distance. You get closer and it's just a mass of chaos and, you know, bad work. But, you know, it's fine. Everyone's so much younger than me as well. I feel like that's a thing. So, yeah, I think I'm just a LARP mum who just wants to kind of make sure everyone's okay. So that's, yeah. It's just, you know, what I do. So yeah, if there's any other parents around or anyone else who feels like they need a LARP mum, let me know because I'm always happy to be someone else's LARP mum and make sure you're okay at your events. What's the best LARP I've been to? Oh, that's not an easy one. I don't know. I've been to a lot of different types of LARPs and I go to them all for different things. So it's a bit tricky to sort of say what's the best. Because it depends kind of what you want to get out of a LARP. Like, if I was going to say what the best LARP was, you know, that got me out of my comfort zone and got me trying something new, then I would say that would be the Wild Hunt LARP that I went to in February or March last year, where I played a French revolutionary / monster hunter. And the reason why I felt it was the best one for getting me out of my comfort zone is it was the first time I ever tried an accent, which, for the record, I am terrible at. It was also the first LARP I went to where I 100% didn't know anyone who was going to be there, or at least I thought I didn't. Once I got there, I realized I knew a few people because the LARPing community in the UK is surprisingly not that big. But I certainly didn't know most people. And it was also really good because it was probably the first time in a very long time I went LARPing without my husband. I've been to a couple of LARPs without him before. It was always with people I knew, even not knew very well, but I knew them. So it was really getting me out of my comfort zone. And it was a really interesting game because it was only for one night. And it was essentially a ball slash kind of meeting kind of event where we, you know, decided who we were going to, you know, who were people who would join the hunt, elect a new, you know, king or queen for the hunt. And it was complicated and weird, and just generally the dynamics were very different, especially because the thing is when you're LARPing with people you 100% don't know, you don't know how they're going to react. With people I know, I can kind of predict how they're going to react, even though they're playing characters that, you know, are very different from themselves. I can still usually make that guess. In terms of the best LARP I've been to for immersion, Empire, 100%. 100%. I only went for one event last year, but it really felt like I was in, like, Lord of the Rings almost. Don't get me wrong, I don't think there's any LARP that can be 100% immersive, but it was the fact that it was so immersive in terms of the way it looked and the way it felt that, and for reference, just to make sense, the site is based in the area of England called Silverstone. Silverstone is a town, but is predominantly famous for having Formula One tracks. And the Formula One tracks are not far from this campsite at all, like literally so close. And it was only on Sunday when we were packing up that I could actually hear the cars going around the tracks. And what I didn't know is that they'd actually been going around the whole weekend, like, not like non-stop, but you know what I mean? Like, people had been on them. It wasn't like, you know, they just decided to start using them on a Sunday afternoon. And I had been so immersed, and so everything was like just so taking over all my senses. I didn't even notice the sound of the cars going around the tracks for the entire event. And that was a really incredible feeling. And it was the fact that you went out onto the battlefield and people really went for it. And the special effects team really went for it because there were drums on both sides, both on the Monster Crew side and on the player side, like these big sort of war drums and people playing them. And there was like smoke bombs going off. So this mist was coming across the battlefield. Like, I felt like I was in Lord of the Rings. It was insane. It was insane. So for high immersion, I would say that Empire is the best LARP I've been to. For combat, I would say the Lorien Trust has been the best LARP I've been to. Nothing against combat in other systems. The reason why purely I would say the Lorien Trust is the best one is because there's so much of it. Like, the way the camps are at the Lorien Trust, unlike Empire, is the camps are all really spread out. which makes it look like there's not as many people there. And don't get me wrong, it is smaller than Empire, but there's still quite a lot of people there. But it feels like there's not, because the camps are spread across a bunch of fields and are kept quite far apart. But the reason they're kept quite far apart is because it means there's safe space to battle in between, which means that you can essentially get battles just rocking up to your gate or to other factions' gates on a semi-regular basis. One thing I noticed at Empire was obviously you have like 2 major big battles, and if you fight in one, you are expected to monster the other, which is perfectly fair. And then there's like a load of little skirmishes which you can or not go on. But you know, I think the maximum people like for each group that goes on them is like 20. So even on sort of if I took part in every single skirmish I could possibly find at Empire and took part in the battles, I could probably have maybe, I don't know, 10 fights over the course of a weekend, which seems like a lot. But I'll be honest with you, there have been times at the Lorien Trust where I've had 10 fights before the end of Friday. Or if I haven't, it's because I've been in one really long one like for most of Friday, and then, you know, Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes and Monday as well. The fights are good, and the fights are generally quite safe as well. And don't get me wrong, they are pretty much everywhere I've gone. I'm very fortunate that I have not been in a LARP combat scenario where I felt inherently like I was in danger of some kind, like on an OC basis. But I do prefer the combat, the Lorien Trust, just because there's so much of it, which means I'm well practiced, and everything's just really fun. Hi, Charlotte. So yeah, for getting out of my comfort zone, the Wild Hunt, best immersion Empire, best combat, the Lorien Trust. The best laugh I had, I would also say the Lorien Trust. A lot of people call like the Lorien Trust the McDonald's of LARP, which I can kind of see why. A lot of people think it's kind of cheap and a bit tacky and kind of fast food kind of way. I do disagree, because I think the thing is about Lorien Trust is that it's not designed to be highly immersive. It's not designed to make you feel like you're in a fantasy world that is completely cut off from reality. But what it does do is it allows you to explore as much creativity as you possibly want. And it also allows you to explore every single avenue of LARP there possibly is. Because between the 4 big mainline events and any smaller events that different factions want to run, you can pretty much find yourself in every form of LARP humanly possible. Like, you can find yourself in high combat LARPs. You can find highly immersive LARPs as well, because some of the small sanction events are incredibly highly immersive, because there are some factions that lean hard into that and good on them. Look up the Bears faction if you're ever one of them. I recommend them all the time. They are a stunning camp. They look like they should just be dropped in the middle of Empire and they would fit automatically. They look gorgeous. But you can also find parlor LARPs, which have no combat whatsoever. You can find political intrigue and, you know, crafting and trading, pretty much. And you can, you know, try full-on PvP and becoming an assassin, serial killer, whatever floats your boat. And you can do all of that at the Lorien Trust if that's what you want to do. And it allows you to explore aspects of LARP you like, aspects of LARP you don't like. And then you can turn around and go, well, I like this kind of LARP, so I can go to these events. Or I don't like that kind of LARP, so I won't go to these ones. And that's really, really good to have. It's like a gateway LARP, I would say, is probably the best description for it. So I would say the Lorien Trust was probably the best gateway LARP I've had, because it allows you to explore all those different facets of LARP really, really well. Yeah. I think that's gone pretty much over what's the best LARP I've ever been to. It's not really a fair question, because I go to lots of LARPs for different reasons. Because I don't want the same thing at every LARP I go to. That's not fun. Oh, there you go. Just going on a massive rant. Oh, I have something exciting to show you all. Just to give you some. Oh God, it's right, knocking my camera about. I got a bonus at work a few whiles ago, and so I managed to get a new toy for my LARP filming experience. This is the GoPro Black Hero 11. Or is it the GoPro Hero 11? I don't remember. Either way, I think it's one of the newest GoPros out there. I got a large bonus at work, and I decided to get one, as well as all of the equipment I would need to clip it to a bag or a belt. Which in theory means I should be getting a lot better footage of LARP this year, which I'm very excited about. I probably still will not be able to get footage at Empire because Empire has strict rules about filming, but I do have permission to film at the Lorien Trust. I'm hoping to get some permission to film at some other events as well, especially with a very small, non-intrusive camera. And hopefully that should up the variety of things you will see on this channel in the future, which I hope will make things very interesting and exciting for all of you. So yeah, I moved the camera. Sorry. So yeah, that's another little sort of thing as well. Sorry, my head is completely spacey from the cold. Oh. I hope you guys are all looking forward to LARP as much as I am. It can be a bit sort of rough when, you know, we're getting into that sort of time of year where it's about to start. I don't know if any of you lot have heard of March Madness, but March Madness is generally when LARPers, especially in the UK, I don't know if this applies to other countries as well, so please let me know. In the UK, March Madness is generally because players become aware that the LARP season is coming up, and then they start doing really daft things like start complaining about stuff, start worrying about stuff, make really strange rules queries, and generally just being a bit of a nuisance sometimes. And I think it's just because it's in the build-up to LARP and they're getting overly excited and they want to make sure they get their money's worth, which is great. But it does mean that people do go a bit insane. So does that happen to all of like you guys as well? Do you guys go a bit insane as LARP sort of gets closer? Oh, you're off to Beakerleen. I need to go to Beakerleen. I haven't got the money to go to Beakerleen. I haven't got the money to go to most LARPs in the North American continent. Though I am currently trying to start saving for Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. Because I did enjoy Star Wars Celebration very much, but I'm acutely aware that the 50th anniversary of Star Wars is coming up, which means they'll probably have it back in America, which if they have it in America, I want to go to it, but I also want to go and do Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. And my husband, who is also the best human being in the world, was also highly acutely aware of this and has also looked at the budget for it as well, and hopefully we can save a stupid amount of money to go. So we'll see how it goes. There's way too much stuff in North America I need to do. But alas, I am broke, so I must stick with UK LARPing for the moment. Though my husband is learning to drive this year, so that should hopefully make more LARPs a reality. I don't know why they're not making it in Paris. They should make it in Paris. They would find that there would be a lot of interest, but hey ho, people are weird. yeah, my husband's hoping to learn to drive this year, which means hopefully I can go to some of the ones that are in Europe as well. Conquest of Mathonia is not obviously on the list because it's huge and brilliant, and I'm still mourning the loss of Sonia's adventures because, you know, she goes and she's not making videos anymore, and I'm very, very sad. So, never mind. Yeah, sit, eat, and drink and dance LARP's pretty good. I did the Goblin Ball last year. I've got another Wild Hunt one later this year, which will be my second one. Wild Hunt is really, really good for drinking and dancing and sitting and eating. Though it's going to be weekend long this time, so I don't know if there's going to be like combat or something as well, but I don't know. I'll have to see. So many things got to do. I've got to get through this season, this little bit first. I've got to get through to the summer. I think when does Empire 2 finish? It's something like June 10th or something, isn't it? That's where I've got to get to. So June 11th, that's the end of E2. I'm about to have an incredibly busy May, if I'm honest with you. I've got quite a few work trips coming up in May as well, not to mention all the time I've got off for LARP. I actually put all my LARP events into my personal calendar last month. And I actually now, between just LARP events, I now do not have a month off until November. And I wish I was joking. I don't. I've literally got either LARP or prepping for LARP or a load of birthday stuff, and then it's November. And that's the first time I get a full break from, you know, this crazy hobby. And then I get to do it all over again. Because yay. Oh, what a mental life I lead. That's okay though. Yeah, I've got it through to June 11th. June 11th is where I can sit and have a small break. And then I'm back at it late July, early August. Yeah, it should be fun. I've just got to remember to keep doing YouTube videos in between. That's my problem. Between juggling YouTube, my job, and, you know, lots of events, everything's going to be chaotic. But that's okay. November's not that far away, right? It's only, what, 7 months? I can get through 7 months of LARP. That's no problem. Oh, so yeah, videos that need to come out soon. I did a bunch of filming at LARPCon with a couple of events that are running this year, and I got to speak to some of their creators. I need to get those videos out soon because one of them is actually running in a couple of weeks, so that should hopefully be out ASAP. If any of the people who I interviewed are watching this, I am so sorry for not getting it out sooner. I literally been full of chaos the last 6 weeks and just not been able to get anything done at all. But yeah, I spoke to 3 events that I want to give videos out for. One being Curious Pastimes, another one being Orion Sphere, and the last one being Exiled on Kamoa? Exiled on the Shores of Kamoa, which is a pirate LARP I need to go to. So I did some videos, some filming of that with the creators and the teams that run those. And all of them were really nice and really supportive and gave me a lot of really good info. And I need to get those videos done because I owe that to them because they gave me their time. So I'm going to be focusing on those for the next few weeks. And then I am off to the Lorien Trust, where I'm going to spend most of my Saturday filming, where I'll be spending most of my Saturday filming either with my GoPro or with my regular camera. So if you see me about and you see me filming, don't think that means you can't come and say hi if you're at, you know, the Spring Moo. I love seeing people. I love talking to people. So yeah, if you see me walking, to be honest, anywhere you see me at any LARP, regardless of whether I'm holding a camera or not, please come and say hello to me. I love talking to people. I will act like an idiot because while I do love talking to people, I also get highly embarrassed because I don't expect anyone to come talk to me. So if you ever want to see me look embarrassed and a bit stupid, come talk to me because I will. I will still be grateful for you coming, but seriously, I am an awkward human being, and I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, should be getting some footage at the Lorien Trust. I won't be getting footage at Empire outside of, you know, I will probably do some filming before the game starts and after the game ends each day. But you're not allowed to film during the event, which is completely legit and fair because it does ruin immersion, even if you have a camera that is incredibly unobstructive. That's the rules they've set, and that's absolutely legit and fine. I have no issues with that at all. But it means that I won't be getting any footage until, probably 6 in the morning. But if you're ever wandering around Empire at 6 in the morning and you know I'm at the event, see if you can spot me because it's a great time for taking photos of camps and stuff because, it's all misty and quiet and you just get these beautiful views of morning mist across open campsites. And I filmed a little video for that for TikTok and it's had over 50,000 views, mainly because I set it to the soundtrack of Lord of the Rings just as Rings of Power came out. Because, that just seemed sensible. Yeah, so hoping to film that, hoping to get some footage out of hours at Empire, and hopefully film some LARPs later in the year as well. So, yeah. Hoping to get a lot more stuff on camera so that I can, make more videos. I've got a lot of B-roll at the moment. It's getting me, sitting in front of a camera and talking my head off, which is becoming quite tricky. Which sounds weird when I'm saying that while sitting in front of a camera talking my head off about bullshit. But yeah, it's been a really rough 6 weeks. I know I keep saying that, I'm sorry. Oh. I do need some recommendations for which I hope you guys can help me with. So I am planning on doing a video, probably late this year, about decorating your first LARP tent for under 150 quid. Because I believe LARP set dressing is a really fun thing to have, and it's really good to be able to dress your tent up so it looks in character. But everybody I know who has a really nice decorated tent has spent a fortune on it. And I mean absolute fortune, because they've got these beautiful benches and they've got these gorgeous hangings and lots of decor, and it all looks great. But if anyone's like me and currently really, really feeling the cost of living crisis, then it's really hard to do. So 150 quid, I feel, is probably even pushing it, but I don't feel like you could do it for £100. But if anyone's got any recommendations on things that they can do, I'm more than willing to listen. I've been looking up things like, rolls of hessian that you can use to cover stuff. I've been researching to see if there's bits of wooden furniture. Well, I can't learn to drive. I'm epileptic. That's not fair. That's not fair. I can't learn to drive. I have other people who can drive for me. I have friends with vans. It's fine. I can hear my husband giggling from the other room as he hears this. I sound like the most entitled human being. Yeah. So, I don't know. If you've got any other recommendations other than just learning how to drive, I would greatly appreciate it. I've been looking at things like IKEA furniture, which I swear, IKEA furniture used to be cheap because you build it yourself. I swear it used to make it less expensive. And now I feel like IKEA furniture is now really expensive, but you also have to build it yourself, which I feel like is counterintuitive because I'm pretty sure I could pay for a chair for less and someone will deliver it to me pre-built. So I don't know. I feel like IKEA is a con at the moment. But you know what I mean. So yeah, if anyone's got any recommendations on things that you can do to, decorate a LARP tent for cheap, I would really appreciate it. One thing I found recently, if anyone wants some recommendations, Hobbycraft had a sale in the new year. Now, the sale is no longer on, but it will come around again. And they were selling like these banners for, you know how people like to have these, put pin badges on them or something like that. People who collect pins and that kind of thing. They had some of these, and they were about, their regular retail price is £4.50. The retail price on the sale was £2.50, which is a massive discount. And I bought 3 of them because they are really suitable for, like, banners for, camps or tents or whatever. And they're about this big, in a sort of nice thing. Yeah. So, yeah. So if anyone's got any recommendations like that, I can't just be a reenactor's child. I cannot change my parentage. As interesting that would be, I can't just turn my parents into reenactors. I have tried. My dad did not go for it. But never mind. It's just the way things work. Thrift shops are a good idea. Yeah, that's where, end up getting crap like this. I think I did a really good job. I feel like this has turned from something kind of black and plastic looking to something that kind of looks like you would find it overgrown in the woods. I'm quite proud of that. I feel like that would make some really good forest, camp decor. So yeah, these were a little bit pricier. Like I got 6 of these bottles for £8, not to mention the contents inside. TK Maxx. I hadn't thought of TK Maxx. That's a good idea. I guess one sense thing would be if you get a load of clothes cheaply, you can just sort of tear them up for the fabric and you can use that fabric for stuff. I don't know. I need to come up with a lot of ideas because I really want to be able to say, here's a cheap or at least a cost-effective way to decorate your tent. So it doesn't look like, a piece of OCU, rubbish with your sleeping bag and all your bags out and all that. Thank you, Charlotte. I thought I did quite well on that too. I've got a second one over there, which is also finished, but that one's the prettier one. Oh, yeah. These are all really good ideas. I really appreciate it. Don't worry, I knew you meant wood. That's fine. I knew what you meant. Yeah. I think this is a big problem I have, is the fact I have lots of video ideas, and then I don't get around to making them, and I feel awful. Because I just can't decide which idea to do. So, yeah, this is why I have them all on a Trello board, so that I can at least turn around and go, oh, yeah, that was a good idea. Because I'll usually think of a good idea like this and then go, I forgot all about it, even though I did all the research and everything. Yeah. Right. I'm going to be really honest with you. I know this is me cutting this short because I usually do this for at least an hour and a half. But as I'm sure you've all been noticing, my nose is not in a good place and I am feeling quite poorly. So I will be ending this very, very shortly. So I'm going to look for a date to do this in May because, oh my gosh, we are so busy right now. Oh my gosh. I love how I said, oh my gosh, like I haven't been swearing for the whole of this blooming stream. Right. I'm going to double check my calendar because I really should be more organized with dates for these things, but everything's getting chaotic. Let's do Friday the 12th of May. Friday the 12th of May for the next stream. I think that would be really good because it will be just over, it'll be exactly 2 weeks since the Lorien Trust Spring Moot. It will be 2 weeks before the Lorien Trust Great Drain Fair. And it will only be 4 weeks before I run away to Empire 2. So I think that will be a really good time for seeing my mental state in the middle of, the start of LARP season. I think I expect you to just get a video of my head on this desk, just me going, but good times. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm cutting this off a bit short. Thank you so much for coming and spending a little bit of time with me. I'm sorry that it isn't very long. I hope that you're all much healthier than I am, because trust me, you don't need these colds. If you think something's coming on, take meds, take care of yourself. And yeah, I think you're all awesome. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I'll see you all on a battlefield soon. Bye.